The Shahsavan are Turkish-speaking pastoral nomads living in northwestern Iran. They migrate between winter pastures located in the Mغان steppe, close to the Caspian Sea, and summer pastures on Mount Sabalan, 150 kilometers to the south. The population of the Shahsavan is estimated to be 120,000 people. Of these, only 32 tribes, about 40,000, migrate every spring and autumn. Each tribe is divided into units of about 20 to 30 families who migrate and live near each other. Winter camps are located in the Mغان steppe along the Soviet border. The nomads spend late fall and winter in this grassy steppe. In early May, rising heat slowly turns green pastures into a dry and dusty wasteland. The nomads migrate south to escape the heat. Traveling about 150 kilometers, they pass through valleys and hills until reaching the Meshkin plain. Buying supplies like rice, tea, and sugar in market towns like Meshkin, they continue their journey to spring quarters. Here, at the base of Mount Sabalan, they remain for the next 4 to 5 weeks. The snow recedes on the mountain by the end of June, and new pastures become available. The nomads then move to summer camps at altitudes of 6 to 13,000 feet. The Shahsavan spend 3 months in these highlands until freezing September temperatures force them to begin the return migration to the Mغán steppe. The breeding and sale of sheep is a main source of income in the nomadic community. Additional income is made through the sale of surplus milk and dairy produce. A Shahsavan household of about 7 or 8 people can live comfortably off the produce of 100 sheep. Men in poorer families who do not own a flock large enough to fulfill their economic needs work as shepherds. In return for their labor, they receive sheep and rights to grazing land. In poorer families, women have the additional burden of preparing food for the families who have hired their husbands. The strenuous task of churning milk to butter, cheese, and yogurt is also women's work. Sexual segregation among the Shahsavan is strictly enforced. Women are not permitted to have contact with men outside their kin group. Until the birth of their first son, younger women must cover the lower part of their face. Most women continue this tradition until menopause. Marriages are prearranged by fathers. Shahsavan girls are usually married by the age of 17, often to men 8 to 10 years their senior. If a girl is not married by 18, the proverbial saying is that she has turned into sour milk. Marriages strengthen and renew ties between different sections of the community, as well as creating alliances between unrelated groups. The two most common household units among the Shahsavan are the paternal, where one or more married sons live with their father, and the fraternal, where two or more married brothers form a household. In households where fathers and married sons live together, the family is eventually forced to separate when cousins reach the age of 6. Under Shiite Islamic law, first cousins can marry. So, they're not allowed to live in such close physical proximity. Among the Shahsavan, there is a strong patriarchal lineage system. It is expected of the man to obey his father's older brothers, as well as his own older brothers. Often, the eldest brother in the household is the herding unit leader. When guests visit the camp, men honor them by cooking lamb in their presence. Other dishes are cooked by women and brought over. It is during these occasions that the leaders of various nomadic sections discuss the approaching migration. In early May, the Shahsavan begin migrating to their summer quarters. The leaders of each section are responsible for the difficult logistics of moving 40,000 nomads and thousands of sheep. By the time they depart from Mغan, the nomads have sold all their surplus sheep and animals, especially those considered too weak to survive the journey. The daily migration of the Shahsavan starts soon after midnight and continues through midday until exhaustion from the heat forces them to stop. 8 to 15 kilometers are traversed daily. At this pace, it takes about 3 weeks to cover the 150 kilometers between the winter and summer quarters. Each day, a familiar pattern is followed. The shepherds start moving the flock well before the departure of the nomads with their caravan of camels and pack animals. By late morning, the caravans catch up with the flock. 2 men move ahead of the group to scout the region and find a campsite to rent for the evening. Villagers charge an exorbitant price for temporary use of their land. Frequently, the nomads are forced to travel through a hot and endless day before they can find a place they can afford. Prior to land reform in 1962, the nomads traveled along routes where they had the customary rite of passage for 24 hours. Since then, villagers have planted crops right up to the dirt roads, making it extremely difficult to find resting places. The constant harassment of the nomads by the villagers, as well as the increased cost of renting pastures, has forced the Shahsavan to quicken their pace. After a location is chosen, there is a flurry of activity, unloading the animals and setting up camp for the night. Here, men and women's activities merge in an effort to settle as rapidly as possible. In less than 30 minutes, the wooden skeletons of the Shahsavan tents, which have provided shelter from the elements for many generations, fill the campsite. Rich and poor families coexist in the same camp unit, but they can be distinguished by the size of their tents, as well as the color and amount of felt coverings they own. Tents of the more wealthy families are new and lighter in color, since the felt coverings are regularly replaced. Until the end of June, the Shahsavan stay in their spring quarters at the base of Mount Sabalon, waiting for the snow to melt before completing their journey to the summer camp. Women dress in their finest clothing during the migration. Even the camels are fully adorned.